your 9.6 notes. So this is solving rational equations. All right. So the warm-up exercise is just if you have a proportion to solve, you guys should know you cross multiply to solve a proportion. So we do 6 times x gives us 6x. That goes on one side. And 4 times 15 gives us 60. And then we just solve it. Divide by 6, x equals 10. All right. Then we got this one. We distribute. So we get 15x minus 10 equals, distribute here, 16x minus 4. Subtract 15x. Subtract 15x. Leaves us with negative 10 equals 1x minus 4. And then we add 4. And we get x equals negative 6. All right. And then let's see, this one we have to distribute. So x times x gives us x squared. X times 4 is negative 4x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is negative 12. And then we got an x. Combine our like terms on this side. So I got x squared minus 4x equals 4x minus 12. Subtract 4x. Subtract 4x. We got x squared minus 8x equals negative 12. And then add 12. And we get x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. And then we have to factor that out. 2 sets of parentheses equals 0. X is in the front. Last sign's plus signs, so signs are the same. They're both negative. Factors of 12 that add up to 8, 2 and 6. All right, now we got equals 0 here, so we got to set x minus 2 equals 0. Add 2 to both sides and get x equals 2. So that's one answer. And then take x minus 6 equals 0. And then add 6 and get x equals 6. So we get 2 answers. X equals 2, x equals 6. All right. All right. So example 1 is sort of like that, where you're going to cross multiply. All right, like we did first, because we have a proportion, one fraction set equal to another fraction. So we cross multiply. So I do 4 times x gives me 4x. And then I have 3 times x plus 1. And here I have to distribute. So I got 4x equals 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. And then I subtract 3x, and we get x equals 3. And that's our answer. All right. The other one, again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cross multiply. So I got 7 times 2x minus 10 equals, and then here 11 times x minus 2. And then we distribute. 14x minus 70 equals 11x minus 22. So I'm going to subtract 11x. Subtract 11x. Gives me 3x minus 70 equals negative 22. I'm going to add 70. And I got 3x equals 48. Divide by 3, and we get x equals 16. All right. So that's the easy one. So for this lesson, it's just when you have two fractions set equal to each other, you just cross multiply and then solve. All right. So you have these 3 you tries for homework. All right. Now we'll get on to the next one. So moving on to example 2. All right. Example 2. Now, we've worked with something like this before where we had fractions. And what we did before was we said if you multiply everything by the common denominator, it gets rid of the fractions. So you just have to be able to figure out what a common denominator is for this. Well, we have an x and we have a 2. So our common denominator is 2x. So I'm going to multiply everything here by 2x. When I multiply 2x times 2 over x, the x's cancel out. So it leaves me with 2 times 2 which is 4. When I multiply 2x times 3 halves, the 2's cancel out, so it leaves me with 3 times x, which is 3x. And then when I multiply 2x times 5 over x, the x's cancel out, so it leaves me with 2 times 5, which is 10. All right, and there I have my problem. Now it becomes an easy problem for you. You subtract 4, we get 3x equals 6. We divide by 3, and we get x equals 2. All right, let's see another one like that. All right, so B. Now we have an x, we have a 5, and we have an x. So the common denominator here is 5x. So I'm going to multiply everything here by 5x. All right, so when I do 5x times 15 over x, the x's cancel out. So it leaves me with 5 times 15, which is 75. When I multiply 5x times 4 over 5, the 5's cancel out. So it leaves me with x times 4, which is 4x. And then when I multiply the 5x times 7 over x, the x's cancel out. It leaves me with 5 times 7, which is 35. And then I just subtract 75. I get 4x equals 40. Divide by 4, and we get x equals 10. All right. C, same thing, but this time the only denominator we have is x minus 1. All right, so that is our common denominator, is x minus 1. So I got to multiply everything by x minus 1. All right, so first I got to multiply 8 times x minus 1. All right, and then the plus sign. Now, when I multiply x minus 1 times 2 over x minus 1, the x minus 1's cancel out, so it just leaves me with 2. And then when I multiply x minus 1 times 2x over x minus 1, the x minus 1's cancel out, so it leaves me with 2x. All right, so now I distribute. I got 8x minus 8 plus 2 equals 2x. Combine my like terms. 8x minus 6 equals 2x. I'll subtract 8x, and I get negative 6 equals negative 6x. Divide by negative 6, and we get x equals 1. All right. All right, so again, that's all it is multiplying by the common denominator. That's the hard step of this. So the next one, the only denominator we have is x minus 2. So that's my common denominator, and I'm going to multiply everything here by x minus 2. So I got to do x minus 2 times 3, so 3 times x minus 2. X minus 2 times this, the x minus 2's cancel out, just leaves me with 8. And then the x minus 2's here, when I multiply by this, the x minus 2's cancel out, just leaves me with 4x. All right, and then I distribute my 3. Combine my like terms. Subtract 3x. And we get x equals 2. And there's my answer. All right. So that's where I'm going to stop in these notes. All right. So you're going to do these 3, the first 3. And then you're also going to do these 3. All right, which is on the next page of the notes. So you're going to do the U-tries 1 through 6 for homework. All right.